football landscape, right? Yeah. You got your high Division I's, you got your D2s, you got your D3s, and so on and so forth. I'm saying that if he is unable to slide in as an offensive coordinator in Grambling, Louisiana, at Grambling State, then I don't know where in the hell he's gonna be able to slide in at. Like, he done had trouble coaching high school in Texas. Like, I mean,
but you do know that high school in Texas is equivalent to like some D2 programs in other places.
Well, that actually may be higher, right?
They probably are higher. High school in Texas is very different. That's not the same equivalent. You would have been better off saying, coaching the West Side Cubs.
Hey, I don't let you dog the West Side Cubs like that either. Even though I play for the Buccaneers, but that's neither here nor there. But I'm just saying, the only thing that what really bothers me to a certain extent about this too, and people gonna be like, he done brought this shit full circle back to this somehow. Mm-hmm. Is the same, and I'm gonna say it, the same niggas that's complaining about Art Briles being hired as the Grambling offensive coordinator will argue your ass down about not listening to R. Kelly and why they gonna keep listening to R. Kelly. The same motherfuckers.
Oh man, hey, I wanted Art Briles to get the job and listen to R. Kelly.
Well, you sir are not a hypocrite then. You just like sexual offenders.
Oh man. I offended like her. Like, what kind I don't know how to take that.
Bitch, you're not a hypocrite.
You should be offended.
Right.
I don't feel like you are, but I feel like you should be offended.
Because I'm up here thinking like, if she's nice looking enough, I might like her.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying. And tell me if I'm wrong, because I know I'm not. That's the point I'm trying to make. So it's like, if that's the case, let that be the case. Period. Don't change.
Right.
Our Briles actually was not with 15-year-olds.
Right.
Now he might have covered up some 18-year-olds, but he wasn't with no. And when I say that, I'm talking about he just didn't address what happened, but he didn't actually perform said crime or act.
Right.
For instance.
Yeah, for sure. I just think what we're experiencing is this reckoning of what used to be can no longer be, right? Yeah. And so we have to navigate that in a way in which that old behavior is no longer acceptable. And you see this all the time, right? Somebody comes out, oh my God, Joe Biden touched me on my right shoulder under my rotator cuff in 1972 and I felt uncomfortable. Okay, so today that's not acceptable, right? Mm-hmm. 50 years ago, your grandma might have been getting married at 15. And nobody frowned and looked differently. So we're evolving as a nation and a country that things are just now not acceptable, and these are the consequences of it.
Right. You said grandma being married at 15. You forgot, and the grandfather was 35.
And the grandmother was 50.
Shit. Right. 50. Yeah. Right.
It was a legitimate color purple situation.
Yep.
Yeah. I guess my thing though is while the evolution is necessary, sometimes we overreach with it, and that's where
too far. You can't be going too far.
Yeah, we overreach sometimes. I'm not saying in all instances. I'm just saying sometimes we overreach. Like I'm gonna give y'all another example. Like, and this is way off the subject, but damn it, if I watch another State of the Union address where people sit their ass down and pop up after one word, start clapping, I said, God dog, he ain't even saying shit. Y'all are clapping again. I mean, I voted for Joe too, but golly, everything he said last night was not clap worthy.
It's clap worthy to them, man.
I mean, they got I saw one time where Nancy Pelosi and Kamala, they got up, clapped, And I swear their asses had barely hit the seat. They popped it again. Pop, 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 pop. I said, okay, all right. I said, now I understand, like, your person is in office now, so we got to make sure that everything he says looks good and we support him. But this is getting out of hand. So that's what I mean. We getting a little carried away with some of this. Now, in Art's case, yes, my personal opinion, should he have been punished for what he did or his role in that scandal cover up? Yes. Do I think that means the man should never ever coach football again? No, I don't think that. So I think at some point in time, hopefully someone will allow him, to coach again. But I don't know. It ain't right now. Based on what we seeing, it is not looking good. He would have a tough time coaching Denby.
Oh man!
Wait, go to Google. Is Denby?
Yeah, I'm about to say Denby's still around, right?
No, that's my point.
Oh man,
what's the point?
Hey, but you know what? To go back to your original statement or original question, we didn't ask that. What do you think? How long do you think is acceptable? How long would you assume would be? What do you think expect to be acceptable?
I mean, that was like 2016. So
it's like 6 years.
Yeah. Here's what has to happen. This is the unspoken way that you get yourself back on the circuit. He has to fall on the sword and grovel for what he needs and wants. When you look at anybody that are in these positions, you usually come out boisterous, like, oh, I've done nothing wrong, I'll be fully vindicated. And then it starts coming out, and then before you know it, it's like, hey, I'm really sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm about to be the spokesperson of sorry. And it's not until, it has to be. It is not until you begin to grovel and show this repentance that this cancel culture wants to see, you got to get on your knees first. And people that ain't willing to do that just ain't gonna play the game. So, for instance, you will see, think of the comedians, Louis C.K. is finding his way back into the circuit after being apologetic with the Me Too stuff. Matt Lauer, fuck y'all, I made $25 million a year.
But that's what I'm talking about. Louis C.K. done sat there and jacked off on a girl.
Right. But he did what he did. He did what his PR person told him to do, though. He groveled.
What his PR person told him to. He groveled. He went to sex counseling. Yep. All these things, right? To be like, oh,
well, watch out.
He looks. I can see this being a redemption. He did all these things. Other people, think about Kevin Hart, right? Yep. They're coming out with some shit he did 10 years ago, made a joke about gay people. And his first instance was, I'm not apologizing for that. I've evolved as a comic. That's some bullshit. Y'all bringing it up. I'm moving forward. Can't wait to host the Oscars. And then the people that cut his check probably called him and was like, so you gonna apologize? And the next day, it was like, oh, I'm so sorry. And now he's a part of the gay alliance.
But I'm going to say a yo mama joke and hot jizz on your hands is two different things.
No, we're still saying, you still have to fall on that sword, though. Both of them fell on the sword. You got to.
All right.
Art hasn't come off as apologetic. He hasn't
said anything.
Right.
Yeah,
that's why.
He hasn't really said anything. I think he did initially, but then after that, he just didn't, he's not making public service announcements.
Fired him.
He's not doing anything. Yeah.
Nope, they fired him. He released a statement. It's, basically accepting the border regions or whatever their decision to fire him. He thanked them for their time. He went on about his merry way. He has not done that's the way you got to do it. That's the way the cancel culture works. We want you on your knees first.
Yep.
That's it. That's the only way out, and it's unfortunate.
Well, yeah. Well, speaking of on. It appears as if Vladimir Putin is trying to make Ukraine get on their knees. However, Ukraine is not willing to give head.
You mean give headway? You mean give headway to this attack, right? That's what you mean, right?
Yes, I just didn't finish.
Okay, you meant give headway to the attack. Okay, I understand.
That's exactly.
Jeez.
Yep.
Jeez. Do we have any kids listening?
I don't think so.
If so, then their parents should be ashamed of themselves.
Right. I don't know, man. It's a good educational thing because they'll know not to mess with a woman with 2 baby daddies.
Oh, my Lord Jesus.
They'll also know that if they do anything wrong, the way out of it is to get on your knees and cry.
Education at its finest.
Call us PBS.
Right. Oh, man.
No, but with that being said, I mean, what do you guys think about the situation in Ukraine? Because I mean, to me, it's rather interesting. It's not exactly, but it's kind of Hitler-esque to, and I mean, in terms of just saying, hey, I want to take over a country or a territory. Now, with that being said, at one point in time,
I was about to say
that territory was
right
a part of Russia, the former Soviet bloc or USSR. Mm-hmm. But that would be the equivalent of Mexico talking about they're going to invade the United States because California and Texas and New Mexico used to be Mexico. Mm-hmm. So
here, I don't know if I have an opinion about. I mean, I do have an opinion about this, but I have an initial wonder, and this is it's very. I don't know. My wonder is how did this particular invasion become the thing that we all became sort of nestled on, and all of our attention and everybody's watching, and flags are flying all around for Ukraine, right? So my heart goes out to the people of Ukraine, but like there are people being bombed in Yemen right now today, and there's nobody paying attention to that, right? There's been this decades-long Gaza Strip, Palestinian, and nothing's happening there. People are being killed every day in these wars in which they're being dominated by more sophisticated, more militarized, more dominant governments, nations, etc. But we don't pick up on that. But this one was like, oh, this is the thing. It almost makes me feel like all these little black girls are missing, but Natalie Holloway is who's going to run 24/7 on your ticker.
Oh, well, you onto something there. I mean, that's a subset of this.
Right.
But I think, just real quick, and then we definitely jump back into that. I think that it is because this one is seen as unprovoked, just like, I want that. I'm going to go take that. As opposed to, like you said, with Israel and Palestine, that's been going on for
biblical days.
It's right. Exactly. So I think that's why that one kind of gets like, people don't like, they're like, it's like they've been fighting for forever. I'm not getting into that. So, that's what I think on that front. Now, to your point, it definitely means, or is taking on a different tone or tenor, because we are talking about, I know they are Ukrainian and Russian, so technically Anglo-Saxon does not necessarily.
They're European.
Right.
They're European.
Yeah. So they are European, right? And they are of a lighter skin complexion or hue. We would consider them white.
Yeah.
Right? So therefore, of course, it is a crisis because it is white people.
I don't know. I mean, I get it, but like Saudi Arabia is bombing Yemen as we speak right now.
But they are, what color are they? Right.
But they're bombing them right now with weapons they got from the fucking United States.
But what did you do?
Once again, let's go back. What color are they?
Oh, so we going to flashcards. Okay, so we're pulling out flashcards. This is PBS. Peanut butter and shit. All right.
That's right. Yeah, that's the reason why they don't care.
I mean,
I didn't make the rules.
They're talking about right now. I guess over in in the Ukraine, they're and a little bit more about it than I do, Dandridge, but I know like the people of African descent who have been trying to leave, they like weren't allowing them on the trains or something like that, or the buses. Is that
no, right? So color is right. This racial like divide is happening. I don't know race or like race obviously is a social construct, but yes, if you were of darker skin, they were just not getting the same access as anyone else to be able to flee. And the Ukraine's chief prosecutor, I'm not sure what role that is, did an interview with the BBC and was like, I'm just